So I'm very pleased to have with me today our founder, Alan Points, better known to me, of course, as Dad. So to begin, just tell us a little bit about life before ADL Consultancy.
My background is as a qualified electromechanical design engineer, having served at a 5-year engineering apprenticeship. Over the years, I worked for different companies on the design of FlexiTime units for use in factories, underwater repeaters for telephone cables under the Atlantic, and the designing of large electron microscopes. I also worked for about 19 years at a telecommunications company in Harlow called Nortel Networks. I was there as a design engineer working on some of the very first silicon chips in this country. After managing the drawing office there for some time, the company asked me if I would like to help them qualify for a BSI standard called ISO 9001, which I did successfully, learning in detail what was involved in that particular process. I was then asked to go over to the parent company in Ottawa to audit them to the same standard. And that continued for a couple of years, until around the year 2000, when Nortel went downhill, mainly due to the sudden drop in the telecommunications market. And I, along with many hundreds in the company at Harlow and in the parent company in Ottawa, were made redundant.
I remember going out to Canada with you. It was interesting times. So what was it that made you want to be an ISO consultant?
Well, I was on the dole for about a week and absolutely hated it. Then out of the blue, I had a call from a BSI auditor who I'd known when he audited Nortel. He knew of my redundancy and asked if I'd thought of joining BSI as an auditor, subject to a couple of exams. I then worked for BSI for about 2 years, but it proved to be a lot of travelling, and there was no sat-navs in those days, so you had to drive with one hand and read a map with the other. I felt it was too much. I'd always wanted to work for myself, and now I had a good knowledge and experience of the ISO standards. I realised that I could help other companies gain the standards as well. So I felt it was an excellent platform to create and run a successful business. However, it would be a great leap of faith to leave BSI and go out on my own. There were many things to think about, and I laid awake some nights wondering if I was making the right decision, having a wife and 3 young children to feed and clothe, and buying a house at the same time. So I talked it over with Sharon, and she was right behind me. So in 2002, I left BSI.
I mean, you'd been employed your whole career, so what was it like suddenly going out on your own?
I must admit, I was very nervous at first. It was such a big thing, a big change. But what helped me was I'd audited many companies over the years for BSI. I felt confident in going to companies and identifying their procedures and processes and how the standard applied to them. That in itself gave me confidence when going into a company having minimal knowledge of what they did until we were going through the front door. You sometimes needed to think on your feet.
And how did you build your customer base from nothing?
The week I left BSI, I had no customers of my own. And although I had done some postal drops to companies in Harlow, I had no response. And to be honest, I did start to panic if I had done the right thing. Then on the Friday of the last day, one of my previous companies I had audited as BSI phoned to ask me if I could help them. That was a big sign of relief. The following week, I got another customer, and then another, and the rest is history.
It was indeed. I remember having to talk you into having a website because you really didn't want one. Do you remember why that was?
Yeah, I wanted to stick with the leaflets. I'm not sure why. Perhaps I thought I had enough work for both of us. I've got to be honest, when you joined me, you brought a new dimension to the business.
And you didn't want a company name or a logo either.
True, I didn't feel it was necessary for just 2 of us. In all honesty, David, I did not think for 1 minute that the business would grow to the size it has.
Yeah, it's quite something. What values would you say ADL are built upon?
I would like to think that as a company, we have a reputation of being honest and reliable in all our dealings with our many customers across a number of standards.
Now, you decided to retire at the beginning of 2021. Was that an easy decision for you to make?
Oh yes, I was ready to retire. With our company growing and the increase in the customer base, I knew I was leaving the business in very good hands.
So, looking at ADL now, the fact that we've got 6 active consultants, someone managing our admin, someone creating our social media, and also we're about to become a limited business, release our own ISO compliance software. How does all of that make you feel?
Very proud. From a meagre start, it now provides a livelihood for several related families.
And if there are businesses out there that are thinking about one of the ISO standards, why should they contact ADL Consultancy?
ADL Consultancy is able to provide support and knowledge on many of the ISO standards, including quality, environmental, health and safety, and aerospace. We are also looking to the future and will soon be offering help with ISO 42001, which is around artificial intelligence. We pride ourselves on being completely honest and transparent as regards all our dealings with our customer base.
Well, thank you for being with us today, Dad. We're very proud of everything you've done for ADL Consultancy.